welcome to another episode of Disqualified. I'm Trevin, joined as always by Caleb.
Hola.
And Zach, as always, is behind the camera.
Hello.
Except in a video coming soon, he might not be behind the camera.
Well, if he does something that no one thinks he's gonna do, at least us two here, he might have to be a permanent fixture on camera. But we'll get to that in the video later.
Yep.
But tonight we're talking about Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And it was a decent episode.
Yeah. A lot of promo work instead of matches. Like, I think we only had 3 matches on this card.
Yeah, going back to when we discussed NXT last week, how they had 6 matches in promo time. This time they had promo time and 3 matches. So a lot of just tiny bit of storyline advances for some things.
Yeah. It is. They are hyping up the Rumble, so that's why there were so many promos this episode.
I didn't realize that also last week they advertised Lyra for the show and didn't have her on there. And then this show, they just had her in a promo segment. We'll get to it later on bringing this up because a certain someone had like a 10-minute long segment that was just an entrance. But yeah, so let's just kick off the show right away.
We had off
Seth Rollins.
Yeah. Basically reestablishing how he plans on winning that Rumble and reclaiming the championship that basically he, I don't know what the word for is, glorified, made important.
He was the inaugural world champion for the second iteration of this belt's tenure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just fixing my watch. But yeah, he went on a promo saying like, I made the title important. And then comes Gunther.
Yep.
And he says, well, basically Seth Rollins in 2025 is what I saw on Twitter. He's like, oof, no, you're not him, bud.
Yeah.
But this is a match I want to see at Mania. Just based off the promo work alone.
A lot of people want to see this match at Mania, sure. Just in general, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that if they don't go the route of Jay winning the Chamber and then challenging Gunther, this is the route they go.
Yeah.
And I'm all for Gunther getting new, fresher opponents.
Yep.
Because he's been fighting with Jay for like a whole year, pretty much.
Yeah. But speaking of new, fresher opponents, they get interrupted by someone else.
And he gets absolutely fucking booed. It is Logan Paul.
Yep.
They booed louder. Like, they booed him louder than Dominic and Hulk Hogan.
Yep. But someone in the back decided to screw with Logan even more and turn on the crowd mics.
Yeah, it was funny. You could barely hear him, and like, hey, props to him. I hate to give him props, but like, he cut his promo despite the crowd.
Yes.
He didn't let the boos stop him from cutting his promo.
He is we gotta give this man his dues. He's good in the ring. He's also an amazing crowd worker. Like, he understands he will forever be a heel in this business because of the flack of his social media work previously.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I will never be a babyface in these people's eyes. I will work that heel work.
Yeah, some of the loudest boos I have personally ever heard. And then pretty much Gunther said, you know what? I'm sorry, Seth. I lied. I want you to win.
So I can smack the crap out of you.
Yeah, it's like, so I could smack that smirk off of your face. And, Logan's obviously not winning the Rumble.
No.
He's going to do a big high spot in it. I guarantee it. He does one every year.
He's the one who draws in the YouTube/social media views.
Except now they're not going to have him go up against Ricochet. And that was like the coolest part.
That was the spots.
Yeah, but hey, we shall see what happens now. We move on to our second. Was it the segment or was it our first match of the night?
There was a little backstage segment with Kath Kelly asking for CM Punk's opinion about how all these people are reacting to saying they're gonna win the Rumble, and he's just like, they're, and he's like, yes, they're good, but they're not CM Punk good.
Yeah.
Just reiterating that he plans on winning this. He's getting that WrestleMania main event.
And here comes Sami Zayn, basically saying like, hey, I heard what you said, not on your level, but I main evented WrestleMania. And hey, look, you may have main evented WrestleMania, but you've never held a world title. The closest you've come is you lost.
Basically, they both have
They both have accolades that they're trying to chase.
Yes.
And this is not the last we'll see of Mr. Zayn tonight,
Nope.
or Mr. Phil Brooks. CM Punk.
Nope. Yep. But our first match of the night is for the World Tag Championships. We have the War Raiders versus Judgment Day, represented by JD McDonough and Dominic Mysterio.
And right out the way, I just want to give flowers to JD for continuing the match with broken ribs and a pierced lung after that table spot.
Oh my gosh, I thought it was a concussion.
Yeah, so after the match, JD walked to the back and collapsed.
Yeah, basically, as soon as he was out of crowd's eyes and the adrenaline wore off.
But getting into the match, it was a good match. The spot that took JD out was I think it was an Acai moonsault.
Yes, off the apron.
And he just smacked into the table, then whiplash.
Yeah. Eric did catch him like a good co-worker, but
there's no stopping that momentum.
JD just built up a lot of momentum and just whacked.
Yeah, he was pretty much down and out, not for the match, but just like he was loopy.
You could tell, yeah. He took some spots though like a champ.
So also the War Raiders, I don't know if they're gonna make them change their tag finisher because they botched it twice. With Ivar jumping off the middle rope. Don't know if it was just that part of the middle rope because they tried it in the same spot twice, and he slipped off both times prematurely. But it was a good match overall.
Yep.
A lot of offense from Judgment Day, surprisingly.
Yes.
Getting Eric off in the early moments of the match.
Yep.
But then we get the finisher. Carlito actually runs out, spits the apple, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the ref like, yo, you're not going to acknowledge all the Granny Smith pieces in the middle of the ring?
You just stepped on
black background.
Yeah, you just stepped on one right there.
like you're not going to mention that, then Carlito gets taken out.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, there have been a couple matches where Carlito spits them out because he got decked before he could spit them in their face.
And now this time he actually did the spot.
Yeah.
I think first time in a while.
Yes. But then, War Raiders retain. We cut back to backstage with Pete Dunne strutting in the back a little bit.
I was expecting R-Truth, but
Ludwig Kaiser instead has a little face-to-face with Pete Dunne, being like, hey, saw your match with Penta. Pretty good, but you didn't get there. And then Pete Dunne talks some smack, and then in comes New Day.
And you know how hated you have to be for Imperium to not want anything to do with you? Yes. Ludwig Kaiser just looks at them and he's like, oh. And just leaves.
Yeah. And Pete Dunne.
Yeah. I think before we get to what the New Day was saying, I think this might go into like a semi-recruitment angle for Imperium, trying to get Pete Dunne into their ranks.
Which isn't a bad idea because we haven't heard much on Pete Dunne's old tag partner.
Well, Tyler Bate is actually looking to come back very soon.
Nice.
So, who knows? It could be another tag circuit run for them. Personally, for me, I want to see them in the mid-card.
Yeah. Pete Dunne's been doing a lot of good solo work, both on Raw and NXT, so...
And Tyler Bate's also an amazing in-ring singles competitor, so that's personally what I want to see. But getting into the New Day, Kathy Kelly approaches, and Xavier Woods is like, Kofi's like, Atlanta's favorite son is here. And she goes, wait, who did she say first? I know all the other ones. I just forget who she said first.
Yeah, because...
Oh, Braun Breaker.
Yeah.
And she goes, Braun Breaker.
No.
No. And then, Austin Theory. A-Town Down Under's Austin Theory.
No.
Cody Rhodes. No. Me, Xavier Woods.
Yeah, and Xavier mentions how he dropped possibly a couple grand on front row seats for his fam.
And, that's pretty much all we get from the segment right away.
Yes.
We'll have to see the payoff later on in the match, but we do cut to that match.
Yes, Rey Mysterio makes his entrance. We go to commercial break, and we come back from commercial break with the New Day on ringside, but Rey Mysterio's entrance music still playing.
And his Tron, so that means the New Day had to come out to Mysterio's music. Also, in news, transfer person.
Yep.
Zelina Vega over to SmackDown, away from the LWO.
Yep, has left the LWO faction and is moving on to her own thing.
I think it's to be the manager of Andrade, because that's what The Miz was hinting at. He said, you need someone to like, just harness what you have. And he said, you know what? You're right. I'll go look for them. And left. So,
poor Miz. But
I think this leads to these two getting back together.
And the reason why we know New Day was already at ringside is because we panned the camera over to the reserved seats for Xavier's family. Empty.
Yeah, Zach called it. He was like, it would be funny if they just have reserved seating on there. Cuts the 6 chairs off with reserved seating on it. Pretty fucking hilarious.
Yep. Yeah, but then we get into the actual match.
Decent.
Yeah.
We saw a darker, dirtier side from Xavier this week. We saw a double, like a middle rope double stomp to Ray's neck.
Yep. Yeah, and you can see what that stem cell treatment is doing to Ray.
Oh yeah, bro's still moving like it is 2006 when I first watched it.
And I'm like, isn't he 2 years away from his retirement goal?
About. It was like 2 or 1 years, but yeah. He still has a lot left in the tank. He picks up the win. So Ray has now beaten both members of the New Day consecutive weeks.
Yes, but before we get to him getting the pin, Xavier's family shows up late with some merch.
And it says, New Day sucks. Pretty hilarious. Even Lil Yachty was there wearing the merch, and I'm like, what the fuck is Lil Yachty doing there wearing the merch?
Ray picks up the win, rolls out to ringside, and Xavier's sister gifts Ray a New Day Sucks shirt in his size.
Yeah, just perfectly in his size, Not like any of this was planned.
Yeah, no. It's just funny, but it's like, dadgum, no one is on these guys' side.
And it's like, oh, we see now why they weren't there at the start of the match. Those merch lines are long as fuck.
They are. If you go to any sporting event, you know.
Oh, I've been to enough basketball games. Those lines are shit.
Yep. But then we cut to the little promo you were talking about earlier.
Yes. And who is this again? Sorry. Oh! Let me just tell you this. Jey Uso should not be getting a 10-minute segment just by himself walking out to the ring. He walked out to the ring with Quavo. And he got into the ring and then just left the ring to go dance on the fucking announce table. Like, look, I get that he's over, and I get that he's popular and people love him. You should not take up 10 minutes when people are getting bumped off the show for you to do your little dancey dance. Okay? Like, I'm sorry. We could have had a match or two within this time period. But no, let's just give it to Jey so we can yeet. I'm sorry. It's very fucking annoying.
Yeah.
I literally left the room and I told him, call me when something interesting happens. Like, I'm getting tired of it. Jay just does the same shit. First of all, it was the same promo every week, and now it just seems like he's just there to get the crowd hype and then just leave. He basically said, I'm going to win the Rumble. You're not winning the Rumble. Sorry.
Yeah.
But we'll move on from that because it was a disappointing ass segment.
We move on to backstage where Seth Rollins has a face-to-face with Sammy.
Mm-hmm. And Sammy's like, look, it was a mistake. What happened last week won't happen again. And Seth's like, look, I mean, we can call it a mistake, but if it happens again, then
Fool me.
he's like,
Fool me once,
Who am
shame
I
on
to
me.
say?
Fool me twice, shame on you.
yeah. And that's what we call in the business foreshadowing.
Yup, which we'll get to around the end of the show.
Around our main event, which we
Yes.
didn't even know was our main event.
Nope. But next up, we have a little backstage segment with Lyra Valkyria
yeah.
declaring herself for the Rumble.
Which, yeah, I hate. I said this on Friday's episode, or on Saturday night's main event episode. I hate champions of any kind going into the Rumble match. Unless, and here's the caveat I will say, unless you're like a Jordan Grace, Mickey James, or in this year, probably Masha Slamovich, I think is her name. The TNA Women's Champion. Like, I wouldn't mind them coming because you're highlighting one, the other company, two, that person, and three, that company's belt.
Yes.
When it's your own company, you don't need to highlight the belt in a match where it's all about trying to cash in and go on to bigger and better things.
Some years I have an asterisk for tag champs as well.
Tag champs, it's a weird line because, so you mean to tell me you don't care about your tag team, you just want to be a single star?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just how I would look at it as a fan's perspective. It's like, oh, he doesn't care about his teammate. Fuck, what was it? It was 1 year, I think the Shield was in there, and Roman eliminated Seth and Dean. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You're in there together,
Yeah.
I guess, to work, but yeah.
But Lyra and Kathy get interrupted by American Made with Ivy saying she's also entering the Rumble, and after it, she's looking at the women's IC title.
Which, cool, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go for the world title match, and then go for a mid-card title. I love it. I mean, granted, not everyone can be a world champ right away, and not everyone can win championships, but it's really weird how they're booking this. And then you had Chad Gable saying, she's going to win that IC title for me. For us.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And what's the funniest part of this promo is one of the man who walks in like a gorilla into the ring. That Creed brother.
Square head one?
Yes.
That's Brutus.
Brutus, he did his little laugh and you could just catch Lyra being like, what's that?
Yeah, his little hyena laugh, which I love. It works so great for him.
It does work so good for him.
It's
I feel like it's about to breach the state of a little overused, but...
Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing that we forgot to talk about in the beginning was Seth Rollins when he came out. His Trons, the entrance plate, and pretty much everything else just said Seth Rollins.
Yeah, no more.
Except for the ring announcer, Lillian Garcia, called him Seth frickin' Rollins.
Yeah. Trons have removed freaking.
I'm confused because even on like nameplates for like match cards, it doesn't say Seth frickin' Rollins anymore.
I feel like they preemptively changed his Tron for a
heel turn
/ character change post Rumble, but
yeah. Moving on to the latter part of that segment with American Made, you cut to Maxine Dupree, Otis, and Akira Tozawa and Otis doing a TikTok dance.
Yep.
And getting just the same exact promo for the third time in a row, pretty much of, You guys should be ashamed of yourself. How is your ankle good enough to do your stupid TikTok dances? Do more with Chad Gable. Because he could have gone on to do better things and be a champion elsewhere. But you decided to keep him hostage by... I mean, he signed the contract, but you're not doing shit with him.
Nope.
He could have been in AEW being a mid-card champion, or TNA being X Division champion, or New Japan doing shit over there. But no, we are going to keep him and just have him lose constantly. Thanks!
Yay. Yeah.
Very negative I am this episode.
Little bit.
But hey, it's just because a lot of things are just repetitive, and I get it's because right now we're in that sweet spot where things can't really move forward till the Rumble, and once the Rumble happens, everything is full steam ahead for Mania.
Yep.
It just gets annoying to watch because why am I tuning in week after week to see the same exact things?
Yeah. We talked a little bit when we first started this podcast about PLE fatigue, about how post-Mania there were so many PLEs.
Mm-hmm.
And then we hit up to Mania where we have a 2-month no PLE spell, and it's like
things can't move forward.
No, yeah.
And they're using Saturday Night's Main Event as a conduit to move stories forward. But the thing we've seen with that is they don't move shit forward at all.
No.
Things just stay stagnant.
Yeah, which is weird because I think back to last year, because last year, especially for Mania season, I was like tuning in weekly and getting hype, and stories were moving forward. Like we had the Drew, Jay, and Seth triangle rivalry pre-Rumble that cooked the crap on Raw.
Yeah. And then
we had
today.
Yeah, we had the Viking Raiders and Alpha Academy rivalry, which cooked.
Mm-hmm.
It's like even the below mid card like no titles at all matter in this rivalry cooked. Yeah. And it's like, did one of y'all lose the recipe? Like, where'd it go?
Hey, I guess we're losing recipes. I don't know. It's just, you have what they've called the sweet spot of you are not beholden to TV networks anymore for Raw. You can technically do a 3-hour show if you want, but we're just going to settle for a 2.5-hour show that is worse because we're cutting off 30 extra minutes of screen time. 5 extra minutes of screen time and 25 minutes of ads, because that is a healthy mix for WWE. But yeah, it's just disappointing. I wish stories would move along. Like, I want to see Lyra in an actual storyline for her title that she just won.
Yeah, because people are excited for her. Like, internet's getting hyped for her.
And then you just don't do anything. And with the Raw tag division, you just don't have any of the belt. You don't have the belt being shown off on pay-per-views, not even Saturday Night's Main Event. You just have it stick to Raw. And I said this before, but if you're just going to have these titles defended on TV, just call them TV championships. Because I shouldn't want, I want the War Raiders, or War Machine, whatever the fuck they're called.
War Raiders.
War Raiders.
War Machine's their finisher.
I want them on PLEs with the titles. But I shouldn't have to hope and pray and wait for a storyline to come along where they're on there. Book a fucking pre-show match. That's basically what I'm asking.
Yeah, we got one of the best women's tag matches for the championship on a pre-show. Last year's Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
That match was amazing, and it was a pre-show match.
Yeah, and then, things just need to move along. I can't wait till after the Rumble. How many more segments do we have after this one?
Next up, we had the women's tag match.
Yep, the women's tag match. Bianca Belair and Naomi in a non-title match versus Liv and Raquel Rodriguez.
Yup.
Good match. Good match.
Yep.
Dom helped the heels pick up the win. I kind of saw that coming a mile away.
But I'm like, if they're teasing like Liv and Raquel joining the tag circuit or potentially taking it off Naomi and Bianca, what about tomorrow's episode?
You mean tonight's episode of
Yes.
NXT? Like, well, what are we doing?
Yes. Because they're heavily teasing they're bringing those titles back to NXT.
I really hope this is where we get Jade Cargill returning to cost the champs their match. I guess I could wait till Rumble, but I am just ready to see the payoff for this storyline. That's another thing that is a big booking issue where they start stories and then they just sit on them. And look, I guess that is a version of long-term storytelling, but that is not the long-term storytelling we're thinking of, where these two people interact. Nothing fucking happens. These two people interact. Reference this one. Reference this one.
Yeah.
And nothing fucking happens. That's not the kind of long-term storytelling I'm looking for. Even with like Jade Cargill on social media being like, you thought it was like that and stuff like that. It's like, you're hinting at it and they're not pushing forward. It's like, stop getting people hyped when you're just going to dwindle the hype back down. Like the Wyatt Six, they were fucking red hot. And then we're just going to cool them off, not show them on screen, anything. And yes, overexposure is a thing, especially for a gimmick like the Wyatt Six. They shouldn't be gone for half a year at a time.
No.
Or at least what feels like it. I know it's not been half a year, but it feels like it.
It's only been like a month, but it feels forever.
Because the last we got was on the beginning episode of Raw on Netflix. The debut was Karrion Kross saying, oh, they moved to SmackDown.
Yup.
And we were like, how did they move to SmackDown? Was it Karrion? Then weeks later, this Friday, we finally had The Miz say, oh, I got the move to SmackDown strategically. Why did we have to wait 3 weeks to learn that? Why?
Yeah. And it's like, it's hinted at they might still be Iron Miz, but they might move to a different faction or even a solo person on SmackDown, but we don't know who that be.
Yep, and with the bit of breakdown in what was the return of Alexa Bliss, where she was going to be a part of the Wyatt Six, but they were going to have her return under her old contract. But the people in her corner were like, no, you should renegotiate that contract. And now we're just in the stalemate, so
Yup.
we could have seen some cool advancements, and now we probably won't. Hoping that she comes back to the company. I really want to see her back in the ring. She's one of the better people in the women's division on the mic.
Yes.
But we move on to our next segment.
Yep, which we see Paul Heyman enter the ring.
Without doing his ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
And this is the cover reveal for 2K25. Your cover star is Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Your deluxe cover star is Undertaker. And your, no lie, I checked this price this morning, $130 cover art is the Bloodline tree. Yeah, you heard that right. $130.
Mate, I don't spend that much on cardboard.
Yeah, like, it's fucking insane.
Referencing TCGs I play, but
The base game is $70 instead of a usual $60, just because inflation.
yeah.
But, hey, congrats to Roman. Paul Heyman is also on the cover,
Yep.
praying to his tribal
Which
chief.
gets referenced by someone who interrupts him.
Not the person I was thinking.
Nope.
Drew McIntyre makes his way down to the ring.
Yep, and Paul's looking like he's pissing his pants.
Yep. And Drew says, look, I'm not here to hurt you. We never get to talk.
Yeah,
So
which is fair.
let's just talk.
Yeah.
And
He Yeah, and Drew, to quote him, says he is the daddy of the bloodline.
Yeah. And
Basically tracing it back to him winning the Rumble in 2020, which caused a domino effect of all of the different title
he went on
scenarios.
To beat the Beast, and
Yep.
then Paul Heyman got in Roman's ear at a very low point in his career and used that to harness for evil, he said. And yeah, I mean, he didn't lie.
No,
There wasn't a single false statement.
That's the thing with Drew's heel persona, is that he doesn't lie. He might fabricate and exaggerate the truth a little bit, but 90% of what he's saying is true.
Yeah, and basically just says, "Hey, let your boy know I'm coming for him. I'm gonna beat him into an inch of his life, and then I'm gonna throw his lifeless body over the top rope."
Yep, and Paul says Roman can handle it, and
No,
then
he says, "I will make sure to pass this message along to my
to the
tribal chief."
and then
Drew
Drew
says,
stops him and says,
"I never said anything about Roman.
he knows I'm coming.
I'm talking about Punk." And Heyman just leaves.
Yep.
And then we just see Drew stare at him and he says, "Run along." And then we cut to commercial break.
Yep,
And by the time we get back, Sami Zayn has magically appeared in the ring.
yep. His music was playing on the Tron, but
I just like to think of it, he just spawned in the ring.
yeah.
I just like to think of it in video game life.
That's the weird thing they're doing recently with the switch to Netflix, is that some people's entrances are on commercial break.
And it makes it seem like whoever you see come down to the ring first is who's winning the match. We can just look at it tonight. Rey Mysterio entered. New Day didn't get their own entrance. Rey won. The women's match. It was Liv Morgan and Raquel that entered. Then we had the tag champions. The champions entered during a commercial break, and they lost. Liv Morgan and Raquel won. And, a little bit of a spoiler, Drew McIntyre made an entrance, and Drew McIntyre won.
Yeah.
Concluding with Sami Zayn going 0-11 against Drew still.
Yep.
It was a pretty decent match. Sami Zayn got busted open, a little cut down the nose
Yep.
in the early moments after going for a DDT. And, yeah, the amount of blood on that mat. Just in the part where he was just sitting, I was like, oh.
We thought it was broken, but I'm like, no, there's no disformation. It's just a very deep cut.
And it didn't look dark enough either to
Yeah.
be a broken nose. But Sami Zayn, like the madman he is, he carried on throughout the match, and we got a fucking banger of a match.
Yeah.
Which ended in Drew winning via roll-up with leverage on the ropes.
Yep.
Which was interesting to say the least.
Yep. But Drew, being the heel he is, hadn't have enough pieces of Sammy, so decides to ensue a brawl, and we hear adrenaline.
Adrenaline in my soul. That's all we can sing before getting copyright struck.
Yep. And
Cody runs down to the ring.
Yep.
He starts putting the boots into Drew.
Yep. Successfully puts the boots on Drew's, but Drew's got some unexpected backup.
Yeah, and Kevin Owens out of nowhere. And Kevin Owens comes in, he starts putting the boots to Cody. And
Drew gets enough adrenaline. Drew gets enough gas to start helping
He
Kevin.
gets enough adrenaline in his soul to fight Cody Rhodes.
Yep. Gets him in the corner. We saw this last week.
Hold over kick to Cody Rhodes.
Yep, with Drew ducking out of the way again.
Fucking amazing. I'm loving it. I'm loving the stupidity from Sami Zayn's character. You've never went to haluva kick someone in the back of their head when they're not facing you. Nope. Why do you do it twice in a row?
Drew ducks out of the ring laughing again, and Kevin actually approaches Sami just staring stunned and is like, hey.
He's like, good shit. And then he leaves.
Yep.
And then Sami is just like, I've just murdered someone. He looks like he just murdered a small
To be
child.
fair, Cody looks like he got murdered.
Yeah, and then
we cut to commercial.
And Sammy is just gone. They fucking
Yep.
despawned him.
And Cody is looking up at the rafters because the titles have now been hung up there.
He said, "Oh, what a good spot to talk. I'm already looking at the titles."
Yep.
And I'm like, "You're gonna start cutting your promo on the ground?" And he does. He gets to his feet and he starts talking, and then Cody comes in. Or not Cody. Punk
CM
comes in.
Yep. A little rhyming scenario of last year.
Yeah, pretty much the exact same last shot of the night, which you pointed out
Yep.
was pretty much the exact same last shot of the Go Home episode for Raw
Yep.
going into Rumble last year.
Just them staring each other down, but Cody, instead of like shooting the crap a little bit because they were both in the Rumble, Cody's a champion that can be hunted down
Mm-hmm.
from the Rumble winners. So he asked Punk, like, got any predictions or advice from me? And Punk's like, you know what? You're a friend, I'm your friend. Let me give you this prediction. 29 other people are gonna be gunning for either you or Gunther, and they're going to give it their all and not gonna make it. But one guy who's been working day and night to make sure he gets that WrestleMania moment, to make sure he steals the title off you,
Mm-hmm.
he's coming for you, and he's going to be bigger, stronger, and better than you, and you're gonna have the fight of your life.
And he says, and when you realize that you are on that come down, he is on his way up.
Yup.
And he said,
and
now
that's the good news.
He said, that's the good news. And
Yeah, and
Cody
Cody's like, then what's the bad news? And
it's gonna be me. Should have been Justin Timberlake. It's gonna be me.
and literally my jaw just dropped. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, so it's very much looking like
Yep.
we might get Punk winning the Rumble.
Yeah, but Punk goes on to explain, like, it's gonna be me because I've been fiending for this my entire career. And another reason why I'm gonna do it is because while all your other friends have backstabbed you, I'm brave enough to stab you in the
He
front.
said, I'm your one true friend. I'm gonna stab you in the front, which is a nice reference to Bring Me the Horizon. Yeah, that band. I love them.
Yes,
I just forgot.
but also just a killer line.
Yeah, it was a good line. And then we get Cody pretty much just coming back and saying, "You're not going to be the one winning. I'll be the one winning." And closing shot.
Yep.
Other bits that we had throughout the night. Kai Cenat showed up. He also, during a commercial break, made an entrance.
Yeah. Tron and everything.
And he said that he is looking forward to fighting WWE someday. And hey, here's what I think, and here's what I honestly think should happen. I'm not saying Bad Bunny's bad. He's very good at wrestling. I want to see how good these celebrities truly are. Put Logan and Bad Bunny in a match with no one else carrying them. I just want to see. I'm curious. Very curious to see if they can actually work through a legit match without another superstar being there to carry them through.
Because on Bad Bunny's wrestling resume, there's 2 Rumbles and his street fighting against Damien, which is not a shabby resume.
And he said he wants to at least do one more match.
Yeah.
But hey,
If it's a celebrity versus celebrity against Kai, that'd be hilarious.
because like you can do it on, fuck it, just do it on the Saturday night's main event. Those shows don't mean anything anyways. Just do it on there.
Yeah. But
I think that's about it from us this
Yeah.
episode. Oh, on some other bit of news, Dakota Kai is in concussion protocol currently, so she will be out for at least a month. JD McDonough will be out for a few months, they have said. And on the signing front, Jordan Grace has signed a multi-year deal with WWE, looking to make her debut full-time at the Rumble.
Yep. Which brand she chooses to stick on,
We don't know. I'm hoping for Raw.
Yeah.
But just to freshen up that women's title scene, But that is it from us today. My name is Caleb. That is Trevin. Zach behind the camera as always. Be sure to look out for the predictions video for Royal Rumble coming out probably Wednesday or Thursday. I'm doing Thursday as a Thursday or Friday. Thursday or Friday because we're recording this on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is it from us. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell 3 times so you know the match is over. And we'll talk to you next time. Thank you for your time. Peace.
Bye.